Welcome to the Backdoor Fantasy Sports Podcast with Russo and Jordy.
All right, what's up? Good morning. It's 10:40. It's still kind of the morning when we're filming this. It'll probably be noon by the time you guys see this, but good morning to you. And this is our fantasy football show, Russo and Jordy with Backdoor Fantasy Sports. And today we're going to be talking about the matchups for Week 7. We're also going to recap last night's game, Broncos versus Saints. And then we're going to go over our DraftKings lineups at the end of the video. Before we break into everything, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Drop us a comment if you have any fantasy football questions or questions about like Underdog or Prize Pick, stuff like that. We get back to everybody. But yeah, this is our fantasy football show. We also put out videos for picks for Underdog and Prize Picks for every single NFL slate, and we'll be doing every single NBA slate here shortly as well. So yeah, if you guys don't mind, hit us with a like. Just help us grow the channel a little bit. We really appreciate it. Goes a long way. And I want to shout out Underdog, one of our favorite partners. They've been awesome with their commitment to continue to make their platform awesome. We always talk about their alt lines are killer multipliers, lots of options for alt lines. But they're also running Boosttober right now. So they're dropping boost tokens every single day throughout the month of October. So you build out your slip, you add the boost token, and you get an even higher multiplier. And then the percentage varies each day, but they go like up to like 50% sometimes. So you just get like a massive multiplier every single day. So they're running discounts and all sorts of goodies. They're going to be running promos for basketball. So if you sign up using our promo code Backdoor, they're going to give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick to help you cash your first slip. So definitely take advantage of that. There is a link in the description of the video. And again, that's just code Backdoor. If you go through that link, it should auto-populate it. And you can get that up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. And then we're also partnered with Sleeper. If you haven't signed up for Sleeper picks yet, use code BACKDOORFS and you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. There's a link in the description for that as well. All right, so let's talk about last night's game. The main question I have is the Broncos O-line that good, or are the Saints just that bad right now?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Honestly, I think it's like the Saints looked completely rattled. I don't even know like where to start with this game. It was so like.
Also, first of all, Spencer Rattler sucks. I'm sorry.
Whoa,
that dude.
Throw a pick.
He played like trash all night. He took like.
Dude, he's throwing to like us out there though.
Oh, yeah. Well, Haener came in and on 4 attempts moved the ball 38 yards for a touchdown. Like, Haener looked so much better with his decision making and going through his reads quickly, getting the ball out quick. Like, all of a sudden, that offense just like they moved right down the field and got in the end zone. Spencer was, he's lucky some of these penalties where he's just taking too long with his reads, getting sacked, fumbling the ball, and the Broncos could have had 2 pick sixes, or 2 fumble recovery for a touchdown. That one got called back, lucky for him. And then the next time, I was bummed because I started the Broncos defense, and as soon as it happened, I was just like, yes, I was all celebrating and stuff. Then I see the flag and I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to get that touchdown. And then it was no problem. Rattler gave him another one. So my Broncos defense ended up scoring 23 points for me, which put me in a great mood to start the week. But 23 because we give like a point for like 4th down stops. I don't know if we do 3 and outs. I don't know if we do. Some leagues do, some leagues don't do a point for 3 and out as well. But the Broncos got 6 sacks on Spencer and 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumbles recovered, and a touchdown. But yeah, Haener came in and 3 passes, got them in the end zone. It was just like, that is a rough outing for Rattler. So I'm sorry, but he looked He looked bad. I mean, the Saints in general looked bad. They were also dropping passes, dropping catches. Kamara could not get anything going.
That's what I was going to say.
God.
Kamara looked really old in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, their O-line was completely demolished. I heard that they were on their backup center, and then that dude got injured, and then so they had their like third string undrafted rookie center.
Sounds like
playing.
Spencer Rattler's fault.
Hey man, Rayner was able to figure it out. We'll see how much longer. It's like hard to say like how that would have looked if they would have given us a bigger sample size. Like Dennis Allen should have just put him in at the half. But yeah, it ended up taking Spencer Rattler getting, mildly injured for him to say, okay, let's just pull you. There's no reason to keep doing this to you. But I'm sorry. Like maybe I'm being unfair here, but it's not a good look when Hainer comes in and somehow just moves the ball right down the field.
Right.
Javonte. Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was just going to say, what?
No, it was unrelated is what I was going to say. So good.
Oh, okay. Javonte, I said is not a good start this week. And I apologize. I didn't realize the Broncos had the best O-line in the game. 14 carries, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bo Nix, 10 carries, 75 yards. Everybody was able to get it done. Jaleel McLaughlin, 4 carries, 35 yards. Audric Estime, 5 carries, 29 yards. Audric Estime had the lowest yards per carry out of all of their backs, and he averaged 5.8.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did they figure something out with their O-line, or were the Saints just this atrocious last night? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
So it looks like no Cam Jordan last night.
Was he not out there? I thought he was. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just seeing things.
I don't see him on the. Oh yeah, he
No,
was out
out
there. Okay, what's his name?
Lattimore played. Tyrann Mathieu played. Tyrann Mathieu had Bo Nix throw him a pass right to the numbers, and the dude dropped it. Like they were just in a different headspace last night. Like it was like I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how does that defender drop that ball? And then I'm like, that was the Honey Badger. Oh my God, what's going on right now?
It looks like the only person they were without was Chase Young, which
he played too.
Did he? I don't see him.
Yeah,
Did he even get a tackle?
Unless he left the game. He almost got a tackle.
My God. I was watching the game. I just didn't really pay attention to who was. It just looks so bad.
Yeah, I saw Chase Young almost get a tackle on Bo Nix. Almost got a sack because that was a prop on Prize Picks, and I didn't take it. I think it was a demon. And then I was like, oh, he almost cashed that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is so good, too. Like, they got Willie Gay Jr., they got Tyrann. Like, I don't know what, like, Mario Davis was out there last night. He led them in tackling, but it's just like the Saints looked so bad in every level, and I think Sean Payton just drew up a really good game plan for this whole game. It definitely was like a revenge game. He went in there and just took care of business. So maybe that was in the Saints' head a little bit too. Maybe they were just trying to like overperform and kind of got in their own head. I think they'll be okay once they get their pieces back. But as of right now, the Saints are just trying to win whatever games they can until they get, Rashid Shaheed's probably not coming back this year. So
no, that's wild. That's unfortunate for fantasy because he was really breaking out.
Yeah.
But that's a good point, though. Sean Payton is very familiar with Dennis Allen, so he probably was like, watch this. I'm going to checkmate you right out of the gates because I know exactly what to do. But yeah, I mean, I felt bad on our picks show yesterday. I was saying like, I would fade Javonte if you can this week, and then he just starts scoring right out of the gates and stuff. But anyways,
I think I took the one prop for Javonte that didn't cash.
Which one did you take?
His target's over 3.5. He got 3. He probably hit every other prop in the category for him. So my bad, guys. I don't think I took that in the show though. I just took that for a X slip that I threw out there. But
okay. All right. Well, yeah, Bo Nix, 16 of 26, 164 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. That dude has got wheels though.
Yeah.
He really can take off. Like they were saying on the game last night, they were like, hey, it looks a little bit like Taysom Hill out there. I'm like, he kind of does. Like he kind of does look a little athletic like that. Like
he's a very built dude too. You know, he's not like a flabby quarterback. He's definitely like an athlete.
Yeah, we saw Kendre Miller actually looked healthy, which was kind of nice. And man, Kamara was just playing so bad. He averaged 1.4 yards a carry. Kamara looked like he was just so frustrated. He did not look like he was trying to get extra yards. Like some of these dump off passes, 6 receptions, 14 yards, and 7 carries for 10 yards. But yeah, like some of these, I was just like, dude, you were like 1 yard away from getting the first down. It was like on 4th down, and he just let himself get tackled. It was like he was like, dude, I'm so over this.
Yeah,
he looked very frustrated.
Yeah, and then you got the other side of the ball. Javonte looked like he was fighting for his job. You know, like every carry felt meaningful, and he was just killing it on the ground. That was
They all were though. That's the thing. Like I said, Estimate was the lowest at 5.8. Jaleel McLaughlin averaged 8.8, Bo Nix 7.5, and Javonte Williams 6.3.
In my opinion, this is one of those don't overreact situations where it's like these guys are, you know, going to be doing this every week, because I don't think they will. I think the Saints just completely collapsed and fell on their face because we've seen the same offense all year, well, for the last 6 games, and they haven't looked like this at all. So I think it was just a really good performance by them. I think they punched him in the mouth early. They got Spencer Rattler rattled really bad. So I think it was just like a dominant start, and they kind of just ran with it.
Yeah, because the holes that these running backs and Bo Nix had to run on were ridiculous. That's why I was like, is this the O-line or is this just absolutely trash defense? Because Javonte was running through holes that were like 15 feet wide. Like he had no issue getting yardage. And they ran the ball 35 times as a team, averaged 6.4 as a team, 225 yards on the ground.
It's crazy that Bo Nix had 75 of those.
Yeah. And then they only passed the ball 26 times. So it got out of hand quickly. And then we've got Cortland Sutton without a single target.
Yeah.
Like this is just one of those games. It's like if you had Kamara, you're really bummed. If you had Sutton, you're really bummed. Javonte had a great game
on anything Saints at all. Like prop wise, you were happy last night. That's for sure.
Well, all of Foster Moreau's hit. His lines were set so low. Got him in the video at 8.5 yards, and his first catch was 32 yards.
He looks better than Juwan Johnson, in my opinion. Like I was even just watching like what they were both doing last night. Like Juwan is just a really big guy, but Foster Moreau fits that like Brock Bowers build where it's like this guy could be a PPR machine if they just gave him the opportunities, I think.
Yeah, Juwan was having some trouble catching the ball, which is kind of weird because he's a converted wide receiver. So he's got that athleticism and that shake and bake to him. But like there were some of these passes. And I mean, honestly, there was one play where Denver totally got away with a pass interference on Juwan. But anyways, we can probably move on. Not much to talk about. That was my biggest question is like, is this O-line for real? Like it's probably not, but if they do this again next week and the run game even just looks like pretty healthy, I'm going to be like starting to pay attention to
Yeah, I do think that the Broncos
this O-line.
defense is that good, though. That I know. Like, the Broncos defense is that. So
I mean, and no Patrick Surtain, but like
Yeah.
they lost. Didn't they lose to the Chargers last week?
yeah, Chargers
and
though,
so
it seems like when you can run the ball on the Broncos and control the clock, they struggle a little bit. Because that was what the Chargers game planned a little bit in that game. Was like I'm pretty sure they like dominated them on the ground in that game. Let me just go back really quick and take a gander. So I remember it was pretty intense when I was watching it. Here we go. So yeah, they had J.K. Dobbins, 25 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Kamani Vidal, 4 carries for 11 yards. But Justin Herbert, 21 to 34, 237 yards and a touchdown on him. So they were able to throw. That was the game though where Surtain went out, and then they were just targeting that guy who came in because they knew he'd probably be a little rattled.
That's what I'm saying though. Like Surtain wasn't in this entire game.
Yeah.
And I mean they were without all of their starting receivers, but yeah, the Chargers only put up 128 yards on 38 carries.
Yeah. Well, and I think
last night like Broncos 35 for 225 is like wild.
I think Justin Herbert's that good too, though. Like, I think he's very, very good. And I think Spencer Rattler's obviously super young, and throwing him into a situation like this, a revenge game against their coach, who is one of the best in the league ever, you know, it's a tough ask for a kid like him to come in and win that game.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at this against the Chargers last week, though, yeah, so Williams, Javonte Williams, 6 carries, 23 yards. Yeah, like the Chargers were stopping their run game a lot better. But I mean, Bo Nix was able to, you know, go 6 for 61. But yeah, I'm just super curious, like if they're like, hey, we need to run more because our O-line's pretty decent. Like, I'll be paying close attention next week to see if this Broncos run game is for real.
Yeah, agreed.
Because that was very fascinating to watch. I was just like, my gosh, like it looked like the Eagles O-line out there. Okay, so let's get into this week's.
Enjoy sports betting and daily fantasy? Well, Daily Grind is here to help you beat the books. They make premium DFS tools that do all the work for you, comparing lines across just about every platform, looking for discrepancies for you to take advantage of. Start off your research with their DFS Optimizer, a tool that finds all the best plays and rates them with their odds to hit indicator. Or if you'd rather have them make your entire slip for you, they have you covered with their AI slip generator. They'll even notify you when a new slip is available. Go to dgfantasy.com and use code BACKDOOR. They will give you 25% off your first subscription all the way up to a year if you want. That's dgfantasy.com, code BACKDOOR.
Let's get into this week's games. So starting us off, another 9:30 a.m. game in London. The Jacksonville Jaguars stayed in London, so they're a little bit more acclimated. Might help them a little bit. My gosh, 1-5 against 1-5. Patriots versus Jags in London. We have a 42.5 over under. Jags favored by 2.5. I'm really debating whether or not to play Brian Thomas Jr. this year. I'm sorry, this year, this week.
It's a good question. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I'm definitely. Christian Gonzalez is probably gonna have to be on Christian Kirk, so it might be a sneaky start unless they're that worried about Brian Thomas. We'll see how they game plan it up for them, but I'm definitely.
The Bears really focused on Thomas last week.
Yeah, they did. I think he's the guy to focus on. I think you kind of know what you're going to get with Christian Kirk, but Brian Thomas is a playmaker, so that's the guy you want to not let burn you too bad, because if he gets going, it's probably a nightmare fuel for you. But
Yeah, we also. What were you gonna say?
I said I'm probably starting Tank Bigsby in this game because Travis Etienne's a game time decision. So it's hard though, because if Tyron Tracy gets the start again, I can't not start Tyron Tracy right now. So it's a little tough.
Yeah, we have Gabe Davis questionable with a knee. Evan Ingram questionable. Travis Etienne, as of 10 minutes ago, questionable with a hamstring, which he was already questionable, but they just updated it 10 minutes ago. He'll be a game time decision.
Yep.
So thank God for that sleeper auto sub feature.
Yes, sir.
If you've got Travis Etienne. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I might be in a wait and see type of situation here with Brian Thomas Jr. because I was loving starting him week after week. But then that Bears game kind of scared me a little bit, only because this is still in London.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this going to be another like they're more acclimated, but is this going to be another one of those games that is just a little bit boring? But I mean, the Bears were able to get some stuff done last week through the air, know, so we'll see. And then we also have Drake May starting. So yeah, maybe we don't overthink this location situation here and just start your studs. I might go ahead and start him. I mean, if you really if you really need like a start at wide receiver and you've got Demario Douglas with Drake May, like their connection looked great. So it's like I definitely wouldn't shy away from that just because they're playing in London, which was kind of like my original instinct just because I got burned last week. But yeah, other than that, there's not like a whole lot of exciting pieces in this game, to be honest. Like other than if Etienne's out, like Tank Bigsby is exciting, but on the Patriots side of things, you've got like if you really need someone at tight end, maybe Hunter Henry this week. But on Jacksonville's side, like if Gabe Davis is out, maybe that's going to push me in the direction of going ahead and starting Brian Thomas Jr. But you've got Evan Ingram. If Evan Ingram's out, that makes a big difference too, because he had 10 targets last week. That was a big part of Brian Thomas Jr.'s target share going down because he didn't get any looks. I thought that was a mistake for them to just feed Evan Ingram. But all right, so first game for the 1 o'clock window is the Eagles versus the Giants. Playing in New York, we have a 42.5 over under. Eagles favored by 3.
Dang, giving the Giants respect. I like it.
Me too, because their defense is looking better. Their offense is looking better too, and they got Malik Neighbors back this week. Yeah. I would love to see the upset.
I know. I would love to see what this offense looks like with no Singletary, Tyron Tracy, and Malik Neighbors. I think it would be just disgusting and way too hard to guard. And I think if they bring Singletary back, it's going to make their offense look one-dimensional. And I think Tracy's brought this new level of threat with, like, not only can he rip off a massive play at any moment with like a run or a catch, but the dude is not dropping passes at all. So you have this.
No, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like he looks like the best pass catching back in the league already.
Yeah.
Like, dude just literally has like Velcro gloves, like, or something. Like, he catches literally everything. But this could be a pretty big impact, though. It looks like hopefully they can both play, but it looks like Brian Burns is questionable and Dexter Lawrence is questionable. So if those two are out, this defense is not nearly as scary.
Yeah, Dexter's a big one. But hopefully it's a good game. I hope the Giants beat the Eagles for the sake of my Cowboys. But I'll be rooting
funny
for the Giants.
Coming into this year, like we were loving like just seeing the Giants fail.
I
know. But then all of a sudden, like they earned our respect in that game against Seattle. I don't know. I can't say for us, but for me,
no, agreed.
I was just like enjoying like, yeah, you guys let Saquon go. Because I shouldn't be that way, but I was just kind of falling into that, like, oh, you let Saquon go, like this is a trash organization, and then all of a sudden, it was, and also the same case of like, yeah, Daniel Jones is trash, like he is who we thought he was, type of thing, and then all of a sudden they go into Seattle and just like dominate on defense and win that game, and they started. Seattle was actually leading in that game at the beginning, and all of a sudden they just turned something on, and it was incredible. I was like, their defense looks scary right now. And Daniel Jones, and that was without Malik Neighbors. So they really won my respect that week, and I would love to see them be able to improve to 3-4. Absolutely. And give the Eagles the upset there.
Agreed.
So yeah, fingers crossed. No offense, Singletary, but kind of hope you're out this week, because I agree. I want to see what it looks like with Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy. I think that's going to be nasty.
Yeah. Real quick about the Eagles, I wanted to bring up something I thought was absolutely hilarious. I don't know if you've seen last week Nick Sirianni when he was trash talking. They kept saying fans. The fans he was trash talking were Eagles fans. Then when he went up and screamed at them and was like saying crazy things to them, they were Eagles fans who were basically yelling at him like, come on, dude, get this thing going. Like, you were losing to the Browns, who almost beat you. You beat the Browns by what, 3 points, and you have the goal to go up and yell at your own fans. And I don't know, I hate Nick Sirianni so much. That guy is such a joke. Like, this is like the second or third time I've seen something like this. Like, when your quarterback, who was what, 22, 23 years old at the time, has to tell you to shut the heck up when you're like trash talking fans and screaming at people and pointing at the other coach across the sideline, and he's grabbing your shoulder and pulling you back. Like, your own quarterback is more mature than you are. Like, like Shannon Sharp was saying it the other day, and it had me laughing so hard. He's like, I don't know what you expect from Eagles fans. They're the only people who ever booed Santa Claus. You really think they're not going to boo you when you're having a hard time? Like, of course they are. That's Eagles fans. Like, that's one thing I do respect about Eagles fans is they're diehards, and they are like insane people. But I can't stand them, because every time my Cowboys lose, I got to hear about it. So,
yeah, well, if Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence end up being out, this is going to be a really big bounce back opportunity for Saquon Barkley.
I need
for
it
sure. And I'll say AJ Brown looked great in his first game back.
So did Smith. Then, I thought Devonta Smith. I thought he looked good.
You have Dallas Goedert questionable with a hamstring. But you know what? I think the fact that Devin Singletary is even dealing with a groin injury and he is questionable, I'm comfortable firing up Tracy this week.
Yeah.
Because if they happen to be playing from behind, like, first of all, if Devin Singletary is healthy, we don't even know if they're just going to like not let this be a 50-50 backfield now. Like that, it would be foolish for them to not utilize Tracy. Like, he's legitimately a weapon for them.
Yeah.
And I think he's proved it over 2 weeks. And so even if Singletary is cleared to play, if he's dealing with a groin, like, that could get re-aggravated. Like, I just don't think he gets a full workload regardless. And I could see if they happen to be playing from behind, they're just like giving Tracy a bunch of work, because they move the ball when Tracy's in there. Like, so
yeah, I mean, last week, Troy Aikman during the broadcast was saying that when he was talking to the coaches before the game, the Bengals coach, I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was saying like, what is the thing that you are worried about or whatever, and he was like, we can't let Tyron Tracy beat us. And that's a big statement coming from a head coach already. You know, Tracy, 17 carries, 50 yards and a touchdown, but 6 for 6 in the receiving game with 57 yards. Like, when you got coaches like, okay, this guy is a problem, like, that's tipping your hat already. I mean, you're a rookie coming in. You were a converted wide receiver that no one had a lot of faith in, and you got taken by the Giants into a perfect situation. That was what I loved Tyron Tracy with Purdue when I was watching him in college last year. And I was like, what a perfect landing spot. Devin Singletary never keeps a job. and the Giants need a new Saquon Barkley or someone of that nature who's a playmaker. Not that he's like what Saquon is, but he's a weapon for sure.
Absolutely. And you were on him, man, before the draft, before our rookie draft. And when you got him, I was drinking so much Haterade. Like because I had Eric Gray who sat on my taxi squad all year last year.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, this is a perfect situation for Eric Gray. Devin Singletary, that's perfect. Eric Gray could take over this backfield. And then you start hyping up Tyrone. And I was just like, nah, dude, he's a bust. And then I was like trying to troll you a little bit when Eric Gray was popping off in the preseason. And I was like posting notes to our chat of like Eric Gray getting first team reps. Like,
but it was a fun little back and forth we had in the offseason for sure.
But my God, were you right about Tyrone Tracy? Like, he looks so good. And I think that the Bengals coach just saw what everyone saw. And it's like he looks like a healthy primetime Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Like, who is not built like someone who's going to be a power back, but is surprisingly strong at running the ball too. But the pass game is unbelievable. Like, I'm kind of upset that you got him and I don't. But yeah, if for some reason you play Dynasty and Tyrone Tracy's out there somewhere, you better go get him. Like, you should have had him like
93%. So 6% of you might be able to go grab him, but
6% of you need to go get him because that dude is the future.
For sure.
He is a legit weapon in this sport. All right. Detroit Lions versus Minnesota Vikings. We have a 50.5 over under, like we do whenever the Lions are playing anybody. It's always exciting. It's always high scoring. Lions favored by 1.5. This is going to be a fun one to watch. Let's see. Take a look at this injury report. Nothing significant for the Lions. I know is Aaron Jones right hamstring strain still questionable. They just went and signed Akers.
Yeah. I think that doing that, I think they've already shown their hand. Like, they're going to start Akers probably because I don't think Aaron Jones is going to be ready. That was pretty nasty. But coming out of a bye week, though, maybe he is ready.
What about Ty Chandler? You think he'll get the start over Ty Chandler? I think it could just be a depth.
It's probably just going to be a committee. Honestly, they'll probably all get work.
At least Akers is already familiar with Kevin O'Connell and familiar with that offense, and it's probably just like, okay, we need to prepare for, we need to be able to rotate two backs, and if something happened to Ty, like, this is probably just a depth add, but Akers won't. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's like Kareem Hunt going back to the Chiefs. You know, like he knows the offense. But yeah, I think that this is. I think this is going to be. It's going to be interesting because the Lions are so good at running the ball, and Minnesota's defense is so stout.
Yeah,
both teams are great against the run.
Oh yeah, I mean, one thing that I note heavily coming into this game is how good Justin Jefferson is against the Lions. Like, primetime matchup for Justin Jefferson, in my opinion. Like, the dude against the Lions in his career in 8 games has 62 catches for 1,000 yards against the Lions in his career already. Like, the dude has torched them every time he's played them. Like, in 8 games.
That is so insane.
Yeah, and 5 touchdowns. So, like, if there's ever a smash start,
1,000 yards.
Yeah, like, I know you're never ever benching Jefferson, but I'm giddy watching this matchup this week if you're a Justin Jefferson owner, because I think he's just going to continue to slaughter them. So,
well, I'm excited to be starting Jordan Addison this week too, because the amount of attention that the Lions are going to have on Jefferson.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, I mean, the run game really isn't a threat. Like, this is going to be such a pass heavy game. The Lions will establish the run, but the Vikings, do you think you're going to go run on the Detroit Lions with Ty Chandler and Cam Akers? Like,
Yeah, good
that's
luck.
why I like the pass catchers for Minnesota in this game, because it's going to be a high scoring game, and it's going to be Sam Darnold slinging the ball to Justin Jefferson and to Jordan Addison, and
I'm gonna be
so
so pissed off if Minnesota comes out here and just runs all over the Lions when my Cowboys couldn't. Like, I pray to God as a Cowboys fan, I don't have to watch them run on this team. I know it's
not
not
happening.
but there's no Aiden Hutchinson. But I
No, that's
agree.
true. That's a good point.
I agree. I don't think it will happen still, but man, I'm gonna be
But you're right.
screaming. Yeah.
That does change a lot with no Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, I completely like zoned that out, because I'm just, like, I'm just sitting here thinking like, yeah, the Lions are a pass funnel, and I saw what you think the Cowboys were bad. Remember what they did to James Conner? Like,
Yeah, that's
that
true.
was much worse. He scored
Yeah.
3 fantasy points.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is just one of those games you want pieces of. Everybody on the Lions side is start worthy, like they are every week for the Lions, but this is going to be juicy for fantasy for sure.
I'm just happy I get to sit back and enjoy football this week and don't have to worry about the Cowboys being slaughtered on live TV.
Yeah, you had a rough week last week.
Yeah,
that was a rough one.
If I lose to Rod this week, my week's really gonna be rough.
Well, we'll see. Let's hope that Singletary's out so you can start Tracy and with clarity. All right, Texans versus the Packers, playing in Green Bay. And real quick, I'm gonna get to this, but I just want to say, like, it's gonna be pretty wild if the Vikings beat the Lions to improve to 6-0. Like, that's a statement right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Green Bay versus the Texans. For fantasy, I love Romeo Doubs in this game because literally everybody else is injured. Probably cleared to play, but you've got Jaden Reed banged up. You've got Tucker Kraft banged up. You've got Christian Watson banged up. You got Dontavian Wicks banged up.
Christian Watson gets banged up getting out of bed, so that's not surprising.
That's true. But at the same time, some of those, like one of those guys have to play. Like if all 3 of those guys are somehow out, that's not good for Romeo Doubs. Because he will be getting absolutely.
He'll be getting suspended again.
He'll be getting triple covered.
Yeah,
frustrated that he's not getting the ball. But
at least it's in Green Bay. It kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah, and Matt LaFleur always finds a way to figure his stuff out. He's a great coach, great play caller. But yeah, on the other side of the ball, obviously Nico Collins still on IR. So Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell looked great last week.
Just had to bring it up, didn't you?
Yeah, man, we gotta keep everyone updated.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon looked great in his return as well.
Yeah, he did, and so did Dameon Pierce. He looked good too.
Yeah, both of those guys look great, and then they moved Akers, so that's pretty clear that they know the 3 backs they want to be in rotation. Yeah, again, if Jaden Reed plays, you have to start him every week. I hope he does, because I need him to play. But that's just another guy that is just so legit. You can't, like, he's almost good for a touchdown a game at this point. Like, he can do it all. Even though Romeo got 2 last week, Jaden Reed still got 1 in there. But yeah, Josh Jacobs, a solid start. Like, I try to mention stuff for fantasy, but it's not like you're benching Josh Jacobs anyways. But yeah, this isn't the easiest matchup for him. But I like this to be a high scoring game.
I'll be impressed if Josh Jacobs does something in this game. Like, I feel like I'm a little hard on Josh Jacobs, but I feel like he's just another DeAndre Swift. Where it's like he's like matchup dependent, and I don't like whenever he plays someone tough, I feel like I don't see anything great from him. and it
He
takes
gets
him.
the work though.
He does, and
It's
that's
more of a volume play.
yeah. He's like Rashad White, you know, where it's like, and that's kind of DeAndre Swift too, where it's like you got kind of a mid-tier back who's just getting a ungodly amount of reps, and so they're like making do with it. I think he's a little bit better than average, though. I'm not saying he's bad.
Yeah, he's a better runner, way better runner than Rashad White, but
Yeah.
not as good of a pass catcher. He can catch the ball,
Yeah,
but yeah, we have the thing is we've seen Josh Jacobs be the RB1 overall, and
Yeah.
we haven't seen signs of that since that year.
yeah.
So, but we'll see.
I think a lot of
they-
that too was Gruden. I thought Gruden was really kind of dialing that offense in with the Raiders, and you know, you can't be a racist, man. You can't do
true.
that. You can't do that and keep a job.
That is true, but Josh Jacobs also looked really good that year.
He
Like,
did, yeah.
great offensive approach for a running back to succeed, but he also looked very explosive. Like the dude was just so bursty. All right. Seattle Seahawks playing against the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta.
It'll be a fun game.
And if Seattle can figure out what is going on, they have looked so bad the last 2 weeks. Geno Smith has been playing like absolute trash.
I think it's Geno, man. Like I've never been a big truther on Geno. Like the dude's had some good seasons, a good season, but it's like I just don't see I think they should draft a quarterback next year and like kind of figure things out, because I don't think they're gonna win a Super Bowl with Geno.
And I mean, to be fair, they've been super banged up on the defensive side of things. Like they're just starting to get that back together a little bit. But even this week, we still have Byron Murphy questionable with a hamstring. So I don't know. I know that, I mean, like that game against the Lions that they actually competed in pretty good. Like their defense was decimated. They're missing like 5 starters, and the offense just kept that game close. But yeah, Geno has looked really bad the last 2 weeks.
You even look at that game though, and in my opinion, who kept that game close is Kenneth Walker. Geno threw 2 horrible interceptions in that game, like awful interceptions, like throwing it right to the defender. You know, it's almost like the Will Levis. Like I didn't even see him there. Like yeah,
he at least. I mean, Kenneth Walker was opening things up for the pass game because both DK and JSN had like heavy targets, decent amount of receptions, decent games. That week.
You're down the whole game. That tends to happen too.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for this game, you hope it can stay competitive, because otherwise, on the Falcons side of things, it makes things a little less exciting for fantasy. But this is at a 51.5 over under. Falcons favored by 3. So Vegas thinks this is going to be high scoring. So maybe we do get a nice shootout for this one, which would be
fun.
Great.
That'd be a treat.
Yeah. All right. Titans versus Bills. Be interesting seeing if they can get Amari Cooper like right into the offense here. Because it's like you would think like, okay, they'll work him in, but they really need someone to be the guy in Buffalo. And
I think he gets put in immediately. I think, he's probably like at very minimum, he's getting 6 targets at least in this game. Like,
yeah, you would think so. I could honestly see Josh Allen connecting with him, and actually Amari having a pretty solid game, but it is the Titans who are pretty solid on defense. This is only a 40.5 over under. The Bills favored by 9.5. So yeah, I mean, who are we kidding? The Bills are going to get up in this game and then run the ball a ton.
I hope to see more Ray Davis. That guy's a beast.
Yeah, he played incredible last week.
He looked like one of my favorite running backs growing up, Devonta Freeman. Shout out to Devonta Freeman. The guy was a stud.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that catch that Ray Davis made was unbelievable. Like,
Dude didn't even have to jump. He just made it harder. Still caught it.
yeah, I thought for sure that he didn't come down with that, but when I watched the replay, I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
he actually did it. But yeah, we'll see. The thing is though, Josh Allen, we saw him running a lot less. So was that just coming off of the concussion, or
I love how he didn't even have a concussion, but we're like, he has a concussion.
we're just saying he had a concussion?
He had a concussion. The dude was sleeping on the floor, man. Like,
yeah,
it didn't...
they literally had smelling salts.
Yeah.
So, but the bottom line is it looked better for the offense.
Yeah.
We love for fantasy when Josh Allen is running all over the place, but the offense looked better when he was choosing not to just try to run and put himself at risk of injury. You know, I would love to see I would love to see that still be a part of his tool bag, but not having to do it like the entire time and trying to take this whole burden on himself. Like,
Yeah.
getting rid of the ball and getting, like, you know, some chunk plays seemed like that was the right move offensively.
Absolutely. And he's got such a massive arm that running laterally and throwing the ball super far down the field is awesome for him. So that looked cool. It was good.
Yeah. I'll definitely be excited to see what how much Amari Cooper is involved in week 1 with his new team. And man, congratulations to Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
You got out, bro.
He got out of purgatory, man.
Yeah, you no longer have to deal with that. Now you're on an actual contender, potentially.
All the Diddy Watson memes are killing me.
Oh, I know, man.
Oh, God. The internet is undefeated.
Absolutely. That's the best thing that ever happened was just the internet making memes and whatnot, like some of the best comedy around. All right, we got the Bengals playing against the Browns in Cleveland, 41.5 over under. Cleveland favored by 5.5. Just kidding.
I was like, what?
The
I was about
Bengals
to spit my water out.
5.5. Oh no, it's not. It's the Bengals favored by 5.5, and now they don't have Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
So if you got Bengals defense, this might be a good week for them.
If you got Jerry Jeudy, you might just smash start him too, because he's like their only guy left.
Yeah, he is, and he has not. I mean, he gets some end zone looks, but he's still got Deshaun Watson throwing him the ball.
And he is a Jag.
Yeah.
The wise words of Steve Smith.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, I love Burrow in this game. A lot of their pieces for fantasy are guys that for the receivers, you're obviously going to start Jamar Chase. T. Higgins has been great. He's playing awesome. It looks like it really is raising the question of, like, do you guys really want to just let him walk?
I don't think they will. I think that's why they franchise tagged him. Because they were like, we want you, but we can't afford you this year.
Yeah, because that was kind of the consensus among, like, you know, beat writers and stuff was that it's like, okay, he'll be out of here next year. They're keeping him for one more year. But I don't know. He's just, you know, and he's been kind of like up and down over the last couple of years, but he's also been dealing with injury here and there. So it's like maybe I think he's like making a strong statement of, like, hey, like, him and Jamar Chase down the stretch while you continue to address other parts of your team. He looks great. So my point is, definitely start him. Okay, so I want to know about Nick Chubb. I'm hearing that he's supposed to play.
Yeah, he's supposed to play from what I hear. And they just had a big thing of, like, a write-up he did about, like, Cleveland always having his back or something. So it's looking like he's returning. He's cleared. So
okay. All right. Yeah, they had him on Outlier here listed as out, but that could just be still from last week, the tag. So yeah, that'll be interesting. If I really hope he just makes a full recovery, and they've given him plenty of time. So hopefully he's good to go. That would help quite a bit. But yeah, I just don't know if I'm ready to trust Tim Patrick. I actually really like David Njoku in this. I think that a lot of these targets are going to be headed his way for fantasy this week. But we'll see. They're not. I mean, the Bengals aren't the best defense, so it's not like the toughest matchup for the Browns. So
No,
we'll
and
see.
honestly, like if I'm in my situation, like even now, like where I have someone on a bye and I got Nick Chubb, I'm starting Nick Chubb, like for sure, because the Bengals defense is garbage. So,
well, yeah, and let's see, isn't Jerome Ford questionable?
yeah, I don't think he's.
Yeah, Jerome Ford questionable with a hamstring. Devonta Foreman questionable with groin. So you've got Pierre Strong and you've got Nick Chubb. So they may just. I mean, Nick Chubb, if he's 80% of what he used to be, he doesn't even need a ton of carries to have like a fantasy relevant day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would throw him in if you need a flex or if you need like a running back, buy fill in. Yeah, other than that, like what about Zach Moss? Is he's fully good to go now? Yeah, he's not on the injury report.
Yeah, I don't even know, man, because like they he wasn't too banged up last week either, was he? And they just like went fully to Chase Brown.
Didn't he get some work last week?
He got some work, but it was like 6 carries for 13 yards. Chase Brown 10 carries for 53 yards and a touchdown. Chase Brown also had 2 receptions for 11 yards.
So he only got 4 more carries.
Yeah, hit the eject button. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Either of those guys, if you're in a pinch, like I don't think we know enough to where, like, obviously Chase Brown, it's favoring him right now, but I don't know if some of that usage was based off of Zach Moss dealing with a little bit of a lingering something, because I know he was questionable off and on.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are trying to figure it out too. I don't think they really know either who's like really going to be the best guy for their situation. So I think it's just kind of a wait and see thing.
Yeah. So if you're in a pinch and you happen to have Zach Moss, I would still feel comfortable like throwing him in as a fill in.
Yeah. Same with Chase.
Yeah, Chase, I'm even more confident in.
Yeah.
Because there's not really any question marks around him.
Right.
That could be like, oh, is it because of this or that, like injury wise? But all right, Dolphins versus Colts playing in Indianapolis. We have a 43.5 over under. Colts favored by 3. Okay. So if there ever was a defense for this Miami offense to sort of get right against, it is definitely the Colts. And the Dolphins are coming off of a bye week, so hopefully they've had a little bit of extra time to get Tyler Huntley comfortable, get him a little bit more used to the game plan with Mike McDaniel. At least that's what I'm hoping for, because I have Tyreek Hill on my dynasty team. But they've got to figure something out. Somehow they're only 2-3 though. It's wild.
Yeah.
That one win would put them at 500 right now. So let's see, Devon Achane questionable from the concussion still. So hopefully he's able to suit up and play. On the opposite side of things, this is tricky with the running back situation here for the Colts. So you have Trey Sermon still questionable with a knee. Jonathan Taylor still questionable, probably not playing. I'm guessing one more week. So if Trey Sermon if JT and Trey Sermon happen to be out, Tyler Goodson is a smash start for me against this Miami defense.
Oh yeah.
Love the matchup. A little bit trickier if Trey Sermon plays. Alec Pierce questionable with the shoulder. Josh Downs questionable with the toe. That's a bummer. I'm guessing Anthony Richardson is starting this week, who
Yeah, he is.
I'm not personally like. I've got Baker Mayfield on my team that I like. On my dynasty team, I have Anthony Richardson and Baker Mayfield. So I'm just staying in the flames with Baker. It gives me time to just wait and see. Obviously, like with Anthony Richardson, I was really hoping that he was just going to be absolute gold for me for fantasy. And it's been a rough start to the season. Even when he's not injured, the play has been underwhelming. Like all of his athleticism is there, but his actual passing ability, he's got a great deep ball, but his accuracy still needs to improve quite a bit. He doesn't, and then it's also just a little bit more run heavy when Anthony Richardson is in. It's nothing like we see from Joe Flacco. So if he's in, that downgrades all the pass catchers a little bit, including the running backs, because Flacco has just been dealing when he gets his starts.
Yeah. Flacco is just such a different level of like consistent. Like his floor for what he's gonna give you, it's like he's giving you over 60% completion percentage when he gets in there. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think they have a better chance of winning these games when Flacco's in there right now.
Yeah.
But maybe the coaches know something we don't know, and there's a reason that they're like, no, like Anthony Richardson is the starter. Like they're kind of like, they're not in a position where they've been convinced that he's just not going to be their guy. So I get why it's like, no, we're going to keep developing him. It's not like he's like considered a bust yet. It's like, we don't know enough yet.
Yeah. You can't do that to him. He's too talented and too young. Like, what is he? 22 years old, 23 years old. So you can't kill his confidence like that. You can't shoot him down and be like, no, we're going to go with Flacco just because he's playing good right now. Like we've all seen Flacco fall off the wagon too. So I think you just ride it out with Anthony Richardson and you have a solid backup in Flacco.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got Flacco on my squad too, which if you have Anthony Richardson and you don't have a solid, another solid QB on your squad, like I think it is smart to have Flacco as that like backup plan, because if Anthony Richardson goes down, you've immediately got a solid every week starter for you.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm gonna just ride things out with Baker, who's just been red hot, and Baker's got a killer matchup this week. And so I've got the luxury of just waiting and seeing how things develop with Anthony Richardson. But yeah, on the Miami side, I am comfortable starting Tyreek Hill. I'm if I had to lean one way or the other, I'm leaning that they've had a full bye week. They've had 2 weeks to really dial things in and clean things up with Tyler Huntley since they made the switch, and he's still learning this offense. So I think that they know, like, we're 2-3. This is not all lost yet. So let's clean things up. Let's get our offense actually going here. And if Achane starts, if he's able to play, I'm super comfortable starting him. I like Tyreek Hill. I like Jalen Waddle. Like, if I believe that this offense is going to actually improve and be somewhat of a glimpse of what we have saw them be in the past, then Jalen Waddle should be a part of what they're doing. So it's just all going to come down to can Tyler Huntley fit into this Mike McDaniel style offense and actually get it done. So I'm trying to be optimistic here because the Colts are a great matchup for them to bounce back. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep.
All right, Raiders versus Rams. Wow, I can't believe the Rams are 1-4. That's crazy.
They're going to win this game.
Yeah, so we got a 43.5 over under. Rams favored by 6.5. I agree. They should totally win. And we have a chance that Cooper Kupp might be able to play this week.
That'd be fun.
Which would be huge.
Yeah.
That would be still questionable, but they are talking like there's a chance. And I think that's been the plan, is like let him rest until after the bye week. They desperately need him back.
Honestly, I don't know if you bring him back in this game, though. I don't think you need him in this game.
Yeah,
so like
maybe
Williams
not.
Destroy this terrible defense and just save him one more week.
Yeah, Kyren. if Cooper Kupp doesn't play and you need someone at tight end, I don't hate Colby Parkinson this week against the Raiders.
Totally.
Not going to be a dominant game for you, but he gets regular looks every week. And Jordan Whittington is also questionable. So, I mean, yeah, the Rams, on the other hand, the case for Kupp is you cannot go to 1-5. Like, if for some reason you have trouble against the Raiders, which you shouldn't, but if you happen to, you can't go to 1-5. You can't risk it. If Kupp's good to go, I think you got to play him. So we'll see. We'll see what the updated news is. But and at the same time, though, the Raiders are now without Devontae Adams. So obviously smash start for Brock Bowers. And then sneaky play. I'd like to think that is it Trey Turner?
Trey Tucker, I think. Yeah.
Trey Tucker. Let me just double check that because I'm second guessing myself. But I sneakily sort of think that he shows the most promise of being Trey Tucker, of potentially being, a candidate for more targets with Devontae gone, because he's looked like somewhat decent. He's shown enough to where I'm like, I want to see like what he can do with more targets. But yeah, it's probably going to be Bowers, Madison, Alexander Madison could be like somewhat of a flex or a RB2 if you're in a pinch. They've been getting Amir Abdullah more involved lately, but yeah, other than that, nothing to be too excited about.
Yeah.
All right, the Panthers, the Panthers versus the Commanders playing in Washington, 51.5 over under. Washington favored by 8.5.
Yeah, it sucks that Deontay Johnson's probably not going to play in this game. I'm in a really rough spot in our Dynasty League this week because I've got on my squad, I've got Mike Evans, who's also questionable, probably not going to play with a hamstring injury. And Deontay Johnson is now questionable, and I have CeeDee Lamb, who's on a bye week. So I'm in a pickle. I'm probably going to have to pick up Demarcus Robinson and start him off the wire, who's not the worst start, as long as that's why I'm kind of trying to throw some feel in the air that Cooper Kupp's going to miss one more week because I need him to. But
well, there is an update on Deontay as of 10 minutes ago that he's planning on practicing today. Planning on practicing today, making a bid to play Sunday at Washington.
Awesome. Well, never mind.
So
thank God.
He missed the last two practices, but they said, he sat out Wednesday and Thursday, but they confirmed he's going to practice today and is making a bid to play on Sunday.
Let's go.
So there's a little bit of hope. And I'll tell you one thing, like, if he's out, that changes the landscape of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't personally think that there's a chance for the Panthers to keep this anywhere close without him. And if he's out, I think Washington just puts up like 30 something points in the first half and just runs the ball all second half.
Yeah. If he's out, Xavier Legette is a smash start too.
Yeah. And even if he's in, I think Legette is a solid start because they're going to have to be passing the ball. Chuba Hubbard, you're starting every week until Jonathan Brooks gets back because he just gets such good usage and he's been really good.
Yeah, he's a good pass catcher too.
Yeah, he's got a solid floor. The thing that's fun about Washington, though, is like, yeah, they'll run the clock in the second half if they get a huge lead, but they still have fun with these little like electric plays. They still want to show off a little bit. It's Cliff Kingsbury. He's got Jaden Daniels, and his offense is just so dialed in.
Yeah.
This has been so awesome to see. Very unexpected in their first year. But
Brian
yeah.
Robinson limited at practice again.
Yeah. Okay. This is one of those matchups though where like Austin Eckler and Jeremy McNichols can totally get this done.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they'll probably have good games. It's not like when they were facing the Ravens, you know. If Brian Robinson is out, but
yeah, honestly, probably just arrest Brian Robinson this week for the Panthers or the Commanders.
Yeah, depending on how severe his injury is, what he's still dealing with, but yeah, obviously Jaden Daniels is a great start. Terry McLaurin's a great start. Those guys are like auto locked in every week. And then Chuba Hubbard. This is going to be...
It might just be me, but I feel like this is one of those weeks where I could see something crazy happening and the Panthers just winning this game.
You think so?
Maybe. I've seen weird things, and it's always these games where you're like, oh yeah, smash start, everyone on that offense, like this is going to be a slaughter, and then they lose the game in like a tight, really tough, close game. So I don't know. Weird things have happened, and I think Andy Dalton is really good, so we'll see. Not really good, but Andy Dalton can go win you some games.
He looked good his first start against the Raiders, and since then,
yeah, but look who he's played since then, right? Like what of their let's see here. Who have they played since the first game? Let me just pull this up real quick. So they played the Bengals. Or they played the Raiders is when he looked great.
Yeah.
Then they played the Bengals in a close game, 24-34. Then he played the Bears, who are a very good passing defense. They kind of had their way. They played the Falcons 20-38. Not horrible. Andy Dalton, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Chuba Hubbard had a great game, 18 carries for 92 yards. So they were able to keep it kind of competitive with Carolina. So that's what I'm saying. You're going against a terrible Washington defense who now is already even more banged up. I don't know. I'm gonna throw the hot take of the week out and say the Panthers win this game.
All right. Jordy with the voice of reason over here actually made a really compelling case for Andy Dalton, and I like it. Like, yeah, actually, that's probably why this is at a 51.5 over under.
Yeah.
Because I was just, and it also helps that Jordy has Deontay.
It does.
So each week
I'm trying to make
he's
a case for my boy.
But I'm just saying also, like, while I've been just kind of like dismissing Dalton to have one good game, you know, since he's been the starter, and it's like, well, no, because Deontay's been solid for you for the most part with Dalton. And so yeah, maybe, I mean, Jordy called it. He's had a really great record so far on his upset
4-2.
4-2. And it's not like 4-2 of him just calling game lines. It's like him picking out an upset. So 4-2 on these kind of upsets. And one of those losses was you called the Bengals to beat the Ravens, and that came down to a Derrick Henry touchdown in overtime.
So close. Derrick Henry stole my cookies, man. That was so close.
And he did nothing the whole game up until that last, they were shutting him down.
Yeah, he was like, all right, I've had enough.
All right, so you got me a little bit more excited about this Panthers-Commanders game. I was already excited about it, but like, yeah, okay, maybe this will be closer.
Who would have thought that last year we'd be saying we're excited for a Panthers-Commanders game?
Yeah, well, the Panthers are so fun for fantasy because when your guys are playing against the Panthers defense, you just know you're like, oh,
yeah, but Commanders, like, who would have thought
that's a good
be
point.
Excited about Commanders this year. Like, the Commanders are a must-watch team right now. They're so fun.
They are.
Yeah, they're great.
They are. They're just fantasy gold. You know, if you've got like their key players every week, you're just like, this should be good. But all right, next up we got Chiefs versus the 49ers. Chiefs trying to improve to 6-0. 49ers at 3-3 playing in San Francisco. 47.5 over under with the 49ers favored by 1.5. Do we see Christian McCaffrey this week?
I don't know.
That's the question on everyone's mind.
How's his ankles doing?
I mean, he's had a lot of time to get right. You have Jordan Mason questionable with that left shoulder.
Man, it's gonna be such a good game if he plays though. Holy crap!
Has McCaffrey even been activated off injury reserve?
Probably not, right?
Maybe not. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here. Let me get a little update. No, they're not opening his practice window this week. So Isaac Guerendo.
Who? No,
yeah, I mean, like,
good. Yeah, he looked
that's
good.
someone. He looked okay. He had one big run. Got a decent amount of work, but he had one big run. Other than that, he was averaging like 2.5 a carry.
I do think the Niners O-line is good enough to make him look good, though. So,
and I actually believe in Isaac Guerendo. I think that he just had a rough. It was a rough situation. He wasn't planning on playing that many reps, and then all of a sudden Jordan Mason's back, and then it's like one play, take him back out. Like, so I think if Guerendo gets a decent amount of snaps, he'll find his rhythm because he's an athlete for sure. Which is why I'm saying I would absolutely start him with confidence, even against this Chiefs defense, which is stout. I'm not saying he's going to have, it's not like a start of the week, but at flex, or if you're like having bye week issues with your running backs, I would throw Guerendo in there.
Is Mason hurt?
Yeah, Mason's still dealing with the injury.
Okay.
To his shoulder. That they took him straight to the locker room and got immediate x-rays, and then they were like, okay, maybe he's good to play, and then he was still dealing with issues. They taped him up, and then they didn't have him play anything else but one snap. Okay. So maybe he plays. Obviously, if Mason is cleared to play, don't play Isaac Guerendo. But if Mason's out, if Jordan Mason is out, I would be comfortable. I'd be comfortable with
makes sense.
Guerendo in a pinch.
The volume would be there.
Yeah, and he's explosive enough. Let's see. Okay, so Mason has been practicing in a limited capacity. AC joint sprain.
So that was yesterday. So I guess we'll find out here in a little bit if he practices today fully or if he's limited again.
Yeah, if he's out, if he's clearly out and he's not like going to play on limited snaps or something, if he's definitely ruled out, I like Guerendo.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. So let's talk pass catchers. How is our boy Kittle doing? Because if he is not banged up or anything, that dude seems matchup proof right now.
Yeah, it's crazy how just all of a sudden, that's the weird thing about this Niners offense is it's like, who's going to be the flavor of the month this month? It's like, is it Debo this month, or is it Kittle this month, or is it Ayuk? It's like, they're so talented at every position. It's freaking crazy.
Kittle has been an absolute monster in the red zone, though.
Oh, yeah, man. That one contested catch.
Who'd they play last week again?
Seahawks,
who I believe were like top 3 in touchdowns allowed to tight ends. Granted, they were banged up on defense, but he got in twice, and it was like difficult situations. Like the dude, yeah. Obviously, I don't have to talk you into starting Kittle. I'm just saying, like I really like Kittle in this. Debo questionable with the wrist, which seemed like it was really bothering him in that game.
Yeah, he could afford to take a day off, I think.
Yeah, he'll probably still play. It's Debo. The dude just,
I don't think he needs to, but
yeah, says the Ayuk owner.
Listen, I just need one convincing week from all my guys where I'm like feeling a little confident in my squad again, man. They've been doo-doo stains for the last 2 weeks. They've been leaving me some chemtrails in the underwears, man.
So Juju Smith-Schuster, after coming off a really hot game, is questionable with a hamstring. He looked great in his last game. Yeah, they did have their bye, so he's had time, which is why I'm kind of surprised he's still questionable. But maybe that hamstring is lingering. As far as Clyde Edwards-Helaire returning, I'm starting Kareem Hunt with confidence.
Yeah,
like I don't think he's not going to eat in. I don't think CEH is going to eat into Kareem Hunt's usage. He's looked great. until Pacheco gets back. Personally,
Yeah, I think
it
he'll
might
just
give
be
him.
a
He'll be the
relief back.
RB2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, what are we doing with Hunt now?
I think it's going
It's
to
a
be
tough
interesting
matchup either
when
way.
Pacheco comes back because you can't just not play Kareem Hunt now. He's looked great.
Yeah, I think he'll be the RB2. He has looked great. And it'll just be like, what do we want to do? Do we want to just like ease Pacheco back in, which I think is smart, get him completely to 100%
That's a good point.
before playoffs. But yeah, Kareem Hunt, it's fun to see him going back to the Chiefs and playing better ball than he's played in years. All right. And then for the primetime Sunday game, we have the Jets versus the Steelers playing in Pittsburgh. And we've got Russell Wilson starting.
Yikes.
38.5 point over under. Jets favored by just 1.5.
This is so crazy to me that Russell Wilson's starting. Your quarterback's
Yeah, me too,
4-2. And like, 1 second. Let me just pull this up.
2 rushing touchdowns last week.
Yeah. So Justin Fields this year, he's got 106 completions on 160 attempts. Not bad. 66% completion percentage. That's pretty good. Already at 1,100 yards. 184 yards per game passing. 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception. And he's averaging a 93.9 quarterback rating every week. Not sure like what they're doing here. This is super random. That's not even showing his rushing stats on here for some reason, but I know that's got to be solid as well. It's just weird, man. I don't get it. Like, Russell Wilson, is he going to come in here and give you some crazy spark in the passing game? Like, I don't think so. I just think that Mike Tomlin, I don't know if he likes the traditional quarterback a little bit more. If you look at who he's drafted, it makes sense that he would want Russell Wilson because it seems like he wants traditional football, like pass the ball, let me run my running backs, and maybe that's why he's bringing Russell Wilson, and I have no idea. I'm trying to make a case for my guy, Mike Tomlin, because I like him, but this one doesn't make sense at all.
I wonder how much it has to do with Arthur Smith.
Probably a lot.
I really don't know. I mean, they went and got Russell, and then that was the plan. He was going to be the guy for now. And then they end up acquiring Justin Fields, and there's a little bit of a battle there, but it was like Russell, wasn't he named the starter and then he got injured?
Yeah. And then he's been sitting on the sideline completely suited up.
Fully padded up.
I thought he was just benched. I was like, what's going on with Russell Wilson? You guys are like, he's not even active. I was like, what? He's fully suited up, just like chilling on the sideline. But
yeah, with his with his stuff under his eyes and stuff. I think it's hilarious and I love it.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. He's like totally Michael Scott.
Dude, yeah. I'm just like every week I'm just like, there he is. Look at, he's got his pads on. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, as far as fantasy implications go, I mean, is there anyone besides Najee?
I mean, George Pickens has a compelling case if Russell Wilson's starting. I think George Pickens, obviously, you're probably always starting George Pickens anyway because he's But I think all these Calvin Austin could really be nasty if Russell Wilson looks anything like his old self.
Yeah, it's just what I don't understand is Justin Fields has looked decent with his deep ball, but they're just like Arthur Smith is not scheming up plays for Calvin Austin. He's getting like 2 targets a game. And then they were like limiting George Pickens snaps, and George Pickens hasn't been heavily involved, but both of these guys are like, they've got 2 decent receivers there. George Pickens is being completely underutilized in my opinion for what he's capable of.
Oh yeah.
Najee popped off a little bit last week. I will say on the Jets side of things, Breece Hall is an every week smash start. If last week was any indication of what this new coaching regime is going to be doing, They're absolutely back to bell cow status. We'll see. It's only 1 week, but they're back to bell cow status with Brees, and it's unfortunate for the Braylon Allen owners. I don't think you can start or even put Braylon Allen in the flex until we know more. That's what I would do. I would be like, okay, this guy's going back on my bench, because this very well could be like okay, he's back to seeing 20% of snaps with this new coaching regime and the new play caller.
Dude, I just can't stand Aaron Rodgers, man. I can't stand him. Like him going on Pat McAfee's show and talking about just completely selling Mike Williams under the river. Like it was just like, yeah, he ran the wrong route. It wasn't my fault. Like, and then this whole Devontae Adams thing, they're both made for each other. They're both divas. They're both just at that time in their career where they feel like these two old guys can just light this magic. I don't think it's going to look much different. I don't think Rodgers has been playing great this year at all. I think it's going to help their offense, obviously. I think their new coach has something going with the run game. I'm happy to see Brees just being the bell cow. That's how it should have been in the first place. Yeah, I don't know. Rodgers' attitude and his approach at how he says things, like, I don't want, and I appreciate a lot of the things he does say. I like how unfiltered he is about a lot of things. But just the man, some of the stuff he says, I'm just like, God, you're such a little diva, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, Mike Williams absolutely like
did
slid
he
down
run the wrong route though, or did Aaron Rodgers underthrow that ball? I look at that play and I'm like, that ball is underthrown. If
he pretended he was injured after the fact, so
yeah, but you sail that ball and he runs and gets it. I think he just hits his head on the goalpost, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, clearly he ran the wrong route, but I think at that point you just sail it and make it a go route and make him go get it. But underthrowing that ball was a weird choice.
Well, either way, now they've got Garrett Wilson, they've got Devontae Adams, and they've got Alan Lazard, who's looked great with Aaron Rodgers for the Jets. That Hail Mary last week was beautiful. Yeah, it's not like that's a huge testament to what this is just going to look like, but he's got 3 solid wide receivers now that there's no confusion on, 2 of which have been playing with him for years and absolutely know what to do.
Yeah, there's no excuses now. You got to go win some games.
I mean, they're 2-4. They need to go on an absolute heater over the next, like they need to get to 500 in a hurry.
Who's in their division? The NFC East. What we got here? Or AFC East, sorry. So yeah, Bills leading the AFC East 4-2. I mean, it's not a hard division at all. You got the Dolphins and the Patriots in that division as well. So you go, you can sneak back into first place. The Bills drop a couple games. You look at the Jets schedule. You got the Steelers this week, gonna be a little tough. Then you got the Patriots, Texans, tough. Cardinals, you could probably win that game. You play the Colts. So it's like they could go on a little run here. If they can win that game against the Texans, that's a big statement. The Bills, they play the Seahawks, then the Dolphins, Colts, then the Chiefs, Niners. So that's kind of tough. So there's a situation where the Jets could sneak back into first for sure.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's gonna be a fun primetime game.
Yeah.
We'll see how Russell Wilson looks. All right, and then we got 2 games on Monday. We have got the Ravens playing against the Buccaneers. That is going to be fire.
Yeah,
playing in Tampa Bay. 49.5 point over under. Baltimore favored by 3.5.
Yeah. Most exciting news for me that Todd Bowles said they're riding the hot hand with running backs. So Sean Tucker, or no, right? Sean Tucker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Tucker owners rejoicing right now because that means Sean Tucker is going to get more opportunities. I'm excited to see what that looks like. Sean Tucker looked amazing.
Yeah, man, me too. That was my whole like perception of like I swung pretty hard for Sean Tucker. in our dynasty league because he's only 22. You just can't ignore a performance like that. 38% of snaps, full PPR, 37 fantasy points to be the RB1 on the week. And although that was against the Saints, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
Was it?
I think so. And then we saw the way the Broncos just ran all over the Saints last night.
Let's see who it was against. Yes, it was against the Saints.
Yeah, so I don't want to take the wind out of my own sails here with Sean Tucker, but yeah, like every single running back for the Broncos last night averaged 5.8 or more. So, but either way, I really want to see. I don't need to throw Sean Tucker into my starting lineup. It's just one of those like dynasty stashes where I'm like, cool, I got him. Impressive performance. Let's see what this turns into.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, I love Baker in this game. He was my start of the week on our starts of the week show. It really does. It's really going to be a bummer though. So is Mike Evans for sure out?
No, just questionable right now. Dealing with hamstring. That was the latest update. There's no update yet today, so we'll see what he's doing today. But today's going to be the most tilted. But they have a long week, so maybe it'll help him. You know, they don't play till Monday, so hopefully he gets a long rest and he just relaxes.
Yeah, really, that would be much better for Baker if Evans is out there too. It'd be much better for Godwin. Like Godwin's a killer start this week as well. The Ravens, we got the pass funnel defense here, so should be a high scoring game. Should be a fun primetime game.
It's gonna be a physical game.
Yeah, I don't like any running backs on the side of the Buccaneers this week with the hot hand situation. You just don't know if your guy is going to be the odd man out. But I do like the pass catchers. I like Baker. Obviously, you're starting Lamar and sorry. Obviously, you're starting Lamar and Derrick.
That's Lamar calling him right now.
Yeah. You're starting Lamar. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you that. But and same with Henry. Zay Flowers, you kind of have to start every week. But this is a perfect setup for Zay to have a good game too. Hopefully we get a shootout, and it's just like awesome for fantasy. So, how confident are you in Mark Andrews this week?
I'm starting Mark Andrews every week from here on out, and I'm just gonna pray for the best. I can't do it anymore. I'm in a toxic throuple, as I keep saying. One of these guys keep cheating on me every week, and I'm heartbroken. So let's see who it is this week. Last week I started Likely, can't do it anymore. I'm just gonna see what Andrews does for me. And Andrews is looking better. He's looking healthier. He's looking snappier again. He's getting open. So I think a lot of it has just come down to his health. And I don't think week 1 or 2 Andrews was healthy at all. And I think he's finally creeping back into that position that he used to play, where he was just that dominant PPR machine. So hopefully that's the case.
And we've seen a different offensive approach from the Ravens, where we were just talking about like the majority of the time this is going to be run heavy. They can still get what they want with the run game, but they are opening up the pass game more, which is making them look even scarier, like a real contender.
And as weird as it sounds, I think Andrews almost used to be like a running back for them, where it was like he was check down Charlie, like if they couldn't find something deep, Lamar always knew that Andrews is going to be available somewhere. And it was like their weird version of their run game they really didn't have, I think. So now that they have this run game that's just bulletproof, like Derrick Henry is like scored more touchdowns than like 90% of the football teams in the league right now. So it's like the dude is just dominating. But
yeah, he is. He's a lock for a touchdown every week right now. It seems, maybe 2. Like, it's not a stretch to say like if he gets in the end zone twice, you're like, oh, he did that again.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think that things are looking up for Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews. They're not just they're not just running, and I expect him to have a great week. Yeah, besides that, yeah, it's like Kyler, okay start. And who knows, like maybe if the game plan is just Connor and Trey McBride, Kyler can actually get a little piece of that and get a passing touchdown or two. But I mean, it's rough. We'll kind of, as a Cardinals fan, like I hope we can pull this one off. They need to. They do not want to go to 2-5. But it's going to be tough.
We're in the same boat with our squads, man. Both of our teams are looking rough.
Yeah, I mean, if Michael Wilson is good to go, I think he could be like a decent like flex or wide receiver 3, like low end wide receiver 2. Excuse me, this week if Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, because he has been getting targeted and he's actually been coming down with a ball lately. So yeah, maybe this will be okay for Kyler and the Cardinals, but not like a whole lot to be excited about for fantasy, besides Trey McBride, Connor, and J.K. Dobbins, in my opinion, for this game. But
let's talk about why you should be using Chalkboard, the daily fantasy platform that runs specials every day of the week. Build plays for as low as $1 and enjoy the wide variety of alt lines. The higher the line, the higher the payout. It's that simple. Once you've made your picks, you can go whole hog with their max cash option or insure yourself with their shield play option. Download Chalkboard on your Apple or Android device and use code BACKDOOR for a 100% deposit match.
All right, you want to get into DraftKings, or did you have anything else to comment on that game?
Man. Let's get it.
Let's
see. How did you do last week?
Oh yeah, let me pull that up. I don't think I did good. Let's see. No, I did not do good. 101.32.
Okay, I put up 140.80.
Okay, so you had an okay week.
Yeah. The only person who dudded me was Alec Pierce. I made that giant case for Alec Pierce, and he did nothing.
Yeah, well, we both took... Did you take the Broncos defense again or no?
No, I took the Saints.
Okay.
So
they couldn't have done well either.
They put up 9 points.
My best play was Tyler Algier at the flex. Ended up going for 22.8 fantasy points, but Dak just absolutely killed me. 5.2 fantasy. And Calvin Ridley, turns out they're not going to get him more involved.
Yeah.
After all, when you have such a juicy matchup to right the ship with Calvin. Now they've got the Jets, so I don't think it's coming this week either.
Yeah.
But
my 2 hot take plays paid off. I picked Najee. He had a big game. And I picked Hunter Henry at tight end. And he had an okay game. He put up 13.10 for me. Zay Flowers, he went crazy.
Yeah, Drake May looked great in his first start, even though I don't think they got the dub, but it looked vastly improved from Jacoby Brissett. So, all right, you can start us off this week.
All right, trying to reverse the juju here, huh? So this week I'm gonna be at quarterback. Let me pull up how much each guy is really quick. All right, so at quarterback for 7,600, I'm going with Jaden Daniels. I think the matchup's just too fun, so I want every piece of that I can get for this week with Jaden Daniels. At running back, I'm putting Nick Chubb in at 6,000. I think Nick Chubb will have a significant role again. I think he'll be somewhat limited, but I do think he can find his way into the end zone and make this worth it. Kind of going a little bit cheaper with my running backs this week. I'm going with Trey Sermon as well. I know he's questionable, so keep an eye on that. But if he does play, I like him to be the touchdown vulture in the red zone against this weak, tiny Miami defense who hasn't been able to stop anybody. I think that game is going to be kind of high scoring, so I expect Sermon to get some involvement in the scoring there. Terry McLaurin is going to be my wide receiver, 6,800. I think Terry McLaurin's looked great, and I think him and Jaden Daniels have a soft matchup. in this one here. So going to be rolling with that. And then for my second wide receiver, I'm going with Jerry Jeudy. I just think this is like a volume thing. Hopefully he doesn't burn me here, but I don't have too much hope in this. It's a really cheap play, 4,800, but for 4,800 and a wide receiver 1, hopefully he can pay off the price tag. For my wide receiver 3, I'm going with Jalen Waddle for 5,300. I think they kind of start to right the ship. I think Huntley's had plenty of time to develop in this offense now. If he doesn't get it going now, he won't. So I like Waddle for 5,300. That's, pretty solid price tag for him. For tight end, I'm going with Kyle Pitts for 4,500. I thought that was pretty cheap for Kyle Pitts in a soft matchup against Seattle, who's like 17th in touchdowns allowed to tight ends or something. It's 23rd is what they are. So Kyle Pitts has a nice soft matchup going into this game. Like it for him. Flex, I got Tony Pollard at 6,300. Liking Tony Pollard against this Buffalo matchup. They're kind of allowing too many ground yards. I think they're like in the top or bottom 10 in rushing yards allowed to running backs. So Tony Pollard's got a nice little soft matchup here. And then for my defense, I'm actually going with the Rams because I think the Rams, they're going against the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders are going to have much offense going. So hopefully the Rams can shut it down and give me a couple points on defense there. So remaining salary left, I got $100.
Okay. I wonder if I had that matchup wrong about George Kittle, or if him getting the 2 touchdowns last week just tanked Seattle's rating against tight ends.
That could be what it is. Yeah.
But okay, cool. Well, to start me off, I'm going with Sam Darnold at quarterback for 6,200. I just think that this is going to be a pass heavy game. Really like this high over under. And I don't think that they're going to be able to do too much with the ground game, but I expect this to be a high scoring game. And I think Sam Darnold's just going to be slinging the ball and connecting with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, hopefully. So 6,200, I'll take that. And then I got to go with old reliable here, Chuba Hubbard as my running back, 6,500. He's just a huge part of the game plan every week. So solid floor play. And then, so not too much to say about that. Washington isn't too scary, but this is going to be a high scoring game. And I think Hubbard is going to be, he's just involved every week. So I wanted a solid floor for one of my running backs. And then my RB2 is actually going to be Tyrone Tracy. I think whether or not Singletary plays at 6,200, I feel comfortable in full PPR with his pass catching upside. And if by chance Singletary is ruled out, I think Tracy's going to have a great week, but I think he just showed too much to not have the Giants make him a part of what they're doing here. And, even then we might see that come down a little bit with Malik Neighbors back, because Malik Neighbors was getting like 18 targets a game, but I don't think that they need to do that. And their offense actually looked more efficient once Malik was out and they had to spread the ball around more. So I think the game plan might be a little bit different. I don't know if Malik Neighbors is just going to be the only weapon that they're trying to use now that they kind of figured something out while he was out. So I like Tracy, whether or not Singletary plays, but if Singletary is out, I love Tracy this week. And then I'm going to actually, for my wide receiver 1, I'm taking Jordan Addison at 5,600. I think all the attention is going to be on Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson will still be able to eat. But I think that Jordan Addison is good for at least a touchdown this week. Soft matchup, 29th against wide receivers, high over under. So, and then I got the stack there with Darnold. And then at my wide receiver 2, I went with Romeo Doubs, 5,500. I think this will also be a high scoring game. And I think some of these other wide receivers who are questionable end up playing, but he was heavily targeted in the red zone last week. And I think that I like his odds if he's the healthiest wide receiver on the field. And then my wide receiver 3 is going to be T. Higgins at 6,400, playing against Cleveland, who's 23rd against wide receivers. He's just been hot, so I'm going to stay in the flames with him. Don't really need to go too in depth about this. And then at tight end, I'm going with David Njoku. I really think that he's going to be the main beneficiary of these vacated targets from Amari Cooper. I don't think that I don't think that what's his name? Why can't I think of it? Jerry Jeudy, the Jag. I can't even think it. I can never remember the dude's name. I don't think that he's shown much. Like, I think he'll see a bump in his targets too, but I think Njoku is going to be the safe play for Deshaun Watson for this offense. If they extend it out to Jerry Jeudy, then that will be a little bit of a stretch. I think they might try that, but I think if they just are trying to stay competitive in this game, they need to have Njoku heavily involved. And then I also went with Terry McLaurin at flex, 6,800. Love this play. Super soft matchup. Jordy made a compelling case for Andy Dalton actually keeping this game closer than it just turning into a blowout. Playing in Washington, and regardless of if it turns into a blowout or not, I think Terry McLaurin will get his. He's just been on a heater with Jaden Daniels. And then one thing that I kind of wish I maybe would have changed, but I'm just going to ride it out, is for defense, I went with the Giants. 2,500 playing against Philly. I know it's wild, but Philly is actually 24th in points for opposing defenses for fantasy. And the Giants, if Dexter Lawrence plays, if Brian Burns plays, then I'm a lot more confident in this play. When I selected it, I didn't realize those guys were both questionable, but they have just been really turning things up. And I think that I think Philly will be able to score on the Giants, obviously, but I also think that we'll be able to, like, their defense has looked pretty disruptive lately. They're really getting pressure on quarterbacks. They're getting sacks. They're looking very disruptive in there. So at just 2,500, it allowed me to build out my slip the way I wanted to. So I think it's somewhat of a value being so cheap on defense. And then I had 200 remaining salary left.
All right,
but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if it's Njoku or Jerry Jeudy. That's the main question of the week. But
I think we're tied, aren't we? It's like 3-3.
I think so. Yeah. 3-3 so far. We'll have to go back.
Or it's I think it's like technically, I don't know, because I think you got me by 1 because we had a tie because you somehow lost your slip. So
I've won 3, and so it's 3-2.
I think you got me by 1 week.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm a little bit better at this. So.
All right. That's a hot take.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions about fantasy football, once again, DFS picks, anything you're interested in football related, just drop us a comment. And be sure to check out all of our partners in the description if you're trying to sign up for any platforms or anything like that. We have all of our codes in there. If you want to come check out our Discord is primarily daily fantasy right now. We do cover fantasy football in there as well, but our main like sort of bread and butter is our picks shows for Underdog and Prize Picks. So that's the majority of what our Discord covers is just daily fantasy sports. So we appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoy our content, give us a like on the way out. Have a great weekend and enjoy Sunday. We'll catch you in the next one.
Good luck, guys.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Backdoor Fantasy Sports Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop us a comment. You can also find us on all platforms at BackdoorFS.